And we're live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Committee on Finance, Tuesday, the 29th of December, 2020. Councilmember Wyatt.
Here.
Councilmember Bowman.
Present.
Councilmember Rivera.
Present.
Councilmember Wingo.
Present.
Quorum is present.
From the top.
Item number 1, Apollo Media Center, removal and installation of security cameras.
Items open.
Okay, this item is open. We have someone to speak. Okay, Donna's speaking on this. Commissioner Estridge.
Doesn't look like she's joined us yet, sir. Perhaps you might want to hold this in abeyance and revisit.
Okay, motion to hold in abeyance.
We have
Yeah. Deputy Kid Controller. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, this is an item that the Comptroller's Office did file with the council. This was an interfund loan request from the Department of Public Works to remove and install camera security system at the Apollo Theater. We were comfortable with this request solely because the request is for $81K, and the Department of Public Works do have a grant, a DASNY grant, which will repay this interfund loan, and actually will be repaid within 3 to 4 months. So we felt comfortable with this request. It all will be repaid back within this current fiscal year, so kind of like a net zero to the city, where we'll give them the money, the $81K request, and then they'll repay it once they receive the grant from DASNY.
Okay, Deputy, do you have documentation on this grant? Does
Yes.
someone have documentation? Can you provide that to us?
Yep, I will forward it.
So long as we have the documentation, motion is to approve
motion to approve.
with the conditions that we get the documentation as a DASNY grant, and seconded by Councilmember Bowman.
We'll have that over to you. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Next item.
Item number 2, City of Buffalo and Board of Education bond refunding.
Items open.
This item is another item that the Comptroller's Office did file with the council, and it's no different than the other bond refundings. We have a bond from 2011, which we can refund. Once again, it's savings for the city of $655K over 5 years. So that's an average savings of $131K with this refund. This is an item that we would like to also for you guys to consider, so we can continue the paperwork, so we can go to market and clear this refunding up.
Any questions, colleagues? I think this is an easy one. Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Leader, did you motion to approve?
Yes, motion to approve.
Seconded by Councilmember Wingo.
Item number 3, internal audit, City of Buffalo FirstNet cell phone and wireless device utilization.
Items open.
It's open.
Once again, another item filed by the Comptroller's Office. Our audit team, we also have the city auditor on this line for any additional questions you guys might have in regards to the this audit that was complete for utilization of cell phones and wireless devices. Based on Kevin and his team's review or audit, there's like 400 wireless devices issued to city employees at a cost of $120K a year for the city. One thing that Kevin and his team found out is that a lot of these devices aren't being used, and that's a cost of almost like $48K a year to the city. So what Kevin has suggested in the audit, and I believe he's getting help from other departments to identify who has these devices. If they're not being used, can we get them turned in? And we also need a protocol or a procedure put in place as far as which departments receive them, who's using them, if they're not using them, for the group to return those items. Any cost saving measures is what we're trying to do with these audits.
Okay.
Any questions myself or Kevin can answer?
Councilmember Wingo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did read through this report. It's very informative. I appreciate the detail. I did see in the report, though, that we don't have the capacity to find out where the phones are. How is it possible for us to have cell phones and not know where they are? And who, I was just a little confounded by that piece.
Kevin?
I don't expect, I guess I don't expect you to answer that, Deputy Comptroller, because it's not, yeah, you don't have a phone that you're not using. But
No.
I guess I'm wondering, when we were doing the audit, did we inquire on how is it even possible that they don't know where the phones are? I know where all my phones are in my family. My wife can locate all of our phones and we can locate each other. We do have that capacity, but I'm not sure if that's something that we want to make sure that we do, because folks might feel like we are invading their privacy. What is the reason why we don't know? Did anyone explain reasons why we don't know
Yeah.
where they?
Yeah, I can explain it. This is Kevin Kaufman, City Auditor. When we did this, we looked at the actual invoices from the cell phone company. And the description on most of the cell phone lines was just, there were a lot that were just called City of Buffalo. So we couldn't trace them to a person. We could have called each of the numbers, but you're talking about a huge process that we thought would be better served by the people that really should be controlling those cell phones. And what we need is a policy that when a cell phone's issue, in the description, it says who's it's going to. And so that's something that MIS is working on going forward, and they'll identify all the phones and where they are. That's part of their plan going forward to do that.
Okay, Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you. I find this very problematic. If we don't know who has the phone or who has the phone, we don't know if the phones are even being utilized for city business. So that concerns me, that we don't know who has the phone. We don't know if people are using the phones for personal calls or other things. So it seems to me that we definitely need a policy in place as to who has the phone and how the phones are being utilized. Shouldn't we be able to track who's using those phones just based on the statements that are out there? I mean, there's some phone statements, calls are being made. Who's paying the bill for the calls that are being made?
Well, the city's paying the bill, and what we can track is the data and minutes used by phone number, but we just don't know for every phone number who that device is assigned to.
Yeah, well,
And
I mean,
MIS
there are a couple of problems here. One is we don't know who the phones are assigned to. That's one. Secondly, we don't know how these phones are being utilized or for what reasons they're being utilized. And we do pay a bill besides that. I mean, I imagine the use of the phone, the calls that are being made are paid by the city of Buffalo.
Councilman, you're correct. And that's like one of the primary reasons why this audit was complete. We know we do file with the council audits that we plan or hope to do during each fiscal year at the beginning of the fiscal year. So this is the same questions you asked, of some of the questions that the comptroller and her team asked, and that's why this audit was performed. So it's just, we'll follow up with MIS, and we'll continue to work with them so we can not only answer your questions, the same questions that
Sure.
our group have. So it's more about a cost saving measures, why this audit was complete. And this is not the end of it. And we will
No,
follow.
thank you. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. And we certainly need to make sure that, one, we know who has the phones and how they're being utilized. And the ones that aren't being utilized, we should get back. Why should we be paying for it if they're not being utilized? But there should be an internal policy going forward with regards to the actual utilization of these phones to make sure that they're utilized properly.
Correct.
Commissioner Estridge.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that MIS had just recently taken over this responsibility, and they had started researching, I think along with Kevin too, who had these phones, which ones were active, which ones were not. They have canceled a lot of phones, in prior times, but during this pandemic, they did also bring on a lot of phones kind of as an emergency, because we needed people to be in contact with each other. I mean, we certainly agree if the phones are not being used, let's close them out. But some of them, they're checking, they're going through each number right now. They're calling each number to see what the response is, who has a phone, what they're doing it with. Some of the phones come through the police department, which, they're hold close to the vest because they're undercover numbers too. So we have to kind of be delicate in some of these numbers. But we are looking at them. We've started a whole process, calling them up and having a form also for people before they receive a phone that they have to fill out, and it has to be signed off by their supervisor why they need a phone.
Yeah, this is a little bit troubling. It's like so many things. It's like, you know, what is our asset policy? When the city purchases an asset and goes to a department, how do we track that asset? It's just, I'm just confounded that something like this would be such a mess that we can't track and don't know who has cell phones that is going on, this being paid on the city's dime, and we don't know what they're using it on. You know, and I'm glad that we brought this audit forth, but this has been in place, what, is this at 6, how long have we had these phones? Because I said the audit is from a 16-month period, but how long have we had the phones?
Well, we've had cell phones for a long time. Kevin could probably say when we added them on. But like I said, we added some on in March for a large number for the pandemic, but I couldn't tell you the dates of each of these phones. You know, at one time we did pull back on everybody's phone. Probably it was closer to 2003 when we were having difficulties, and then slowly people have been adding them on. So this is great that we get to review this and see who has them now and have a little tighter control on them.
What is the monthly cost for the cell phone expense?
Well, we look at the annual cost, I believe it was around 120K for all the devices. I think 400 some devices that we do have on hand. So if you want to take that divided by 120, that can give you.
I think it's like $30 a month.
Yeah. But the key is like we're saying on this card, and that's one of the great things that Kevin and his team did was just put it on the forefront and getting a policy in place. I look like MIS is working with our audit department on trying to get a policy in place, because we do want to track it. If we're paying for devices that's not in use, that kind of defeat the purpose.
I think we got to get to the point where we're recognizing that if we act as if this is it's our money, like Councilmember Wingo said, hey, my wife knows where all our phones are. I'm sure they know what the costs are for each one. But when you don't act like it's your money, you just allow anything to happen. So we got to really do better. I'm glad that the audit has been completed and you're following up on it. When do we expect a policy, or when do we expect to have some more clarity on who has the phones and what we're doing with them? Because to me, it seems like right now these phones need to be turned off and make those individuals come forward that have phones, and they'll have to say, if I'm undercover or whatever, they need to be coming forth saying I have a phone, and that phone needs to be registered.
MS has started the process. We have a couple people that are working with them to call the phones to see who has these phones. And if there is no response, then there'd be a follow-up or they would be turned off.
So what is the date that we've given people as far as that goes, Commissioner?
It's going to take a while because there's a number of phones, as we know. I would say it's got to probably be a month before everyone has been contacted, and then follow up if there is no response.
So what we'll do with this, we'll just table this, and we'll have Chief of Staff to let us know that in a month that we'll follow back up to find out where we are, because this just shouldn't be. But again, thank you for the Controller's Office and getting this taken care of, because we know we got to save every penny we can at this point in time.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Motion to table. Seconded by Councilmember Nowakowski. Next item.
Item number 4, November 2020 cash flow report.
We did file the November 2020 cash flow report. I'm not sure if there's any questions from council or anyone else in regards to the cash flow activity up until November 30th, 2020.
Colleagues, I have a question for projected December. There's a $21 million item. What is that item? It says.
That's the debt. The city, we make biannual debt payments. Mm-hmm. And we make up our first payment in July. We make our second payment in June. So the debts for the bonds we have outstanding in the beginning of the fiscal year, you guys, the controllers and her team put together a debt payment plan. We make annual payments. You guys sign it in the beginning of the fiscal year. We make that first payment in July 2020. Then that second payment we make in December 2020, which is good when the bond markets, credit rating agencies are looking at the city, that we are able to make our annual debt payments each year.
Okay, so we had the 47 million for the pension,
Correct.
and then we have,
Hold on.
It was reduced.
Yeah. 9,
Okay.
8, 37, 37.8, it looked like. So
Okay.
that payment was made primarily, like we stated, as long as we receive our first state aid payment in the month of December, we will be able to make that early pension payment, which New York State payment came in along with making a payment for a New York State pension.
so the 34 million did come in?
Should have been 13 million.
13, okay, because it's
Actually,
okay. I'm looking at tax levy, that's the tax. levy.
15.3 million, yes.
15.3, yep, I see it. Okay, so you're saying the 29 and the 18 were reduced, it's only 36 for the pension?
I think it was 38.
38? Okay.
Yes.
So we had the 38 and the 21 that we had to pay in the month of December.
Yeah, which is huge. And that's why you see the city cash flow going into negative, because of those huge expenses that come through annually for the city. I mean, we still got a lot of work to do, but it's good that we were able to make these payments at this point in time.
Okay. Well, it's only good because we have the school board now. Let's not get it conflated. We have the school board's money. It's not just our money. So let's just be clear, because we're misleading people saying, oh, it's good. Yeah, it's good, but it's not our money. It's in a account that's with the Board of Education that we're able to do this. So let's just be totally clear. Let's be
Well,
totally
it's identified on the report
okay.
where the funding is coming from. So
Okay. All right. Any
And
questions?
yeah,
colleagues?
we have to also be cognizant every month, their projection does look a little better for us. I mean,
Well,
so
it's
we
not-
are reducing
It's not
expenses.
looking too good
It's
right
not the
now.
best, but we're reducing expenses.
Well,
we're
these negatives.
we're all on the same team. Let's make it work and keeping everybody informed.
You know what? That's good to say, but let's put it in practice. Don't just say it, do it. Okay? Because we're not all informed. You guys are informed, but we're not. So let's keep it real. Don't conflate stuff. I'm on the edge right now.
No reason to be on the edge. Any
Okay.
information needed from the comptroller's office, she is more than willing to share with
Hey,
anybody on this call.
this has not got nothing to do with the controller's office. This
Thank
is
you.
administration, okay?
Let's just identify. Thank
All
you.
right. Anybody else, any comments? Okay, motion to table.
Motion to table.
Deputy Controller?
One more quick thing, the controller wanted to bring to this group's attention is that our PAFR, Popular Annual Financial Report, which is a summary of the CAFR, and it's a report where the average person, non-accountant, can understand the city finances. It's a report that we do submit to GFOA each year.
Who's
And,
GFOA?
Government Finance Officers Association.
Okay, thank you.
Report that we do submit, as long as we submit it by 12/31/2020, the city do receive an award for finances and making the public aware of the city finances. That report will be complete today. We'll file it with you guys by the deadline tomorrow, I think 5 p.m. tomorrow. But it's a report that we will share, give a hard copy to everyone on this call. And it's something where, like I know Councilmember Wingo you guys have a number of items you meet with your constituents or pass out pamphlets, just making everyone informed of the city finances. And this is data or information based off fiscal year 2019, 2020, but it's reader friendly and the average person can understand. And it's like talking, letting you know as far as where the city revenues come from, where the city expenses are paid. There's information about the mayor, information about the council members that we added this year, a message from the comptroller and a direction the city finances that the comptroller sees. So this is something that our group is very excited about. We changed the format from prior years, and we do think and hope that this will be very helpful, not only to our group, but also to your constituents and everyone else on this call.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, I think that's it. Mr. Majority Leader,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn, seconded by Council President Pridgen.